After a grueling 7-game series in the Eastern Conference, we got a finals matchup between Golden State and Boston. The team split the two regular season matchups, although only the latter included Klay Thompson. In that game, Draymond was playing limited minutes and Curry was injured mid-game. I want to analyze the potential strategies both teams will use this upcoming series as a way to protect the game plan. Let's get to it. Off the initial tip, you can see Boston will most likely have the same starting five. However, the Warriors will likely feature Wiggins on Tatum and allowing Klay to guard Brown. Steph will push JB back to the bench, and I would assume Draymond will take Porter Jr.'s role here guarding Robert Williams. The interesting matchup here is Steve Kerr putting a center in Kevon Looney onto Al Horford, so we'll see if that holds the series as well. On off-ball action, here we have Looney with the ball up top and the Splash Brothers involve each other, but you can see Boston switch this. This is a familiar defensive strategy that opponents use on the Warriors, and I predict Golden State will involve a lot of slipping these screens that create open layup lanes. But here Golden State gets a lucky trip on Tatum, giving Klay a wide open three as he knocks it down. However, on defense, Boston instead has their center guarding Looney, with Horford picking up possibly Draymond here. Marcus Smart just won Defensive Player of the Year, and here you can see his eyes are solely on Steph in this deny position, forcing the pass away to Klay. But when Thompson uses this pick, Brown fights over as this is standard for shooters, and Williams interestingly plays drop coverage even though Thompson is a shooter. He knocks it down, and we'll see if Ime Udoka continues to encourage this mid-range jump shot to shooters. Klay will have this all series. On defense, Golden State has their classic help position from the weak side, putting Moses Moody to shade all the way in the paint off a so-called non-shooter in Derek White in order to help on the baseline drive. Thompson is also shading strongly to the middle of the floor, but Brown makes the right decision and kicks it out to Marcus Smart, who drains the three. We'll see if Golden State will continue to allow Smart to take these looks if it means getting the ball out of Brown or Tatum's hands. This is unfortunately the only footage I could find on how the Celtics guarded Steph Curry in the pick and roll, because as you know, Marcus Smart soon later injured him diving for a loose ball. With a pick involving a big man, it makes sense the Celtics play drop coverage again, trusting Smart to fight over the screen and contest a pass or shot from behind. This was more a broken play than not, but Kuminga gets a dunk. This is a good one, seeing how the Celtics guard the Warriors split action. As I mentioned earlier, Boston wanted to switch off-ball screens, but this will mean there are mismatches, and I'm sure the Warriors would not mind a Jordan Poole on Pritchard possession. JP takes Pritchard for the tough shot, and notice Williams correctly coming to help off a non-shooter in Kuminga. On Golden State defensive possessions, on the weak side, Klay and Kuminga will switch these off-ball screens, but strong side, JP and Moody stick to their own man, which is interesting. Involving Looney screens, however, the Warriors play drop coverage, but JP does a bad job fighting over this screen here. And this is too late as Looney has to pick up White, allowing a nice roll pass for the and one. I want to highlight this one as well. When Smart and Tatum are involved in the pick and roll, we see Klay hedge this as much as possible with JP going under the screen, once again encouraging the Marcus Smart 3, as we know Steve Kerr will live with this. I would imagine we will see Wiggins defend Tatum, and if Klay is involved, they might even switch this as well. However, I can see both Jordan Poole and Steph Curry go under the screen and avoid the Tatum switch, which would make complete sense. However, when the roles are switched, I'm not sure if Poole is giving a super hard hedge here or just full-on doubling, but Tatum does a good job letting go of the ball, giving Smart a 4-on-3 advantage as Poole is unable to rotate back, and Jaylen Brown gets a layup with the foul. Tatum did a great job against the Miami Heat, passing out these double teams. Boston ran the Spain pick and roll here, where the big man initially ball screens and a second screener in Jason Tatum back screens the big man's defender and then pops out to the perimeter. Here we can see Jordan Poole go under the screen. Once again, the Warriors want Smart to shoot as much as possible, and Tatum gets the back screen on Looney, forcing Klay to help on this drive. Bad pass by Smart as Draymond sees this and stunts to the three off a corner shooter in Brown, just giving enough time for Thompson to recover, but this is an open shot for Tatum as he knocks it down. After looking at this play, I would imagine whenever Smart is picking up the primary ball handler, in this case Poole, as it would usually be Curry, Smart is sticking to the man at all costs. Here he fights over almost two screens to not allow a switch, but JP knocks down a difficult three, as I'm not sure why Smart goes under the screen on a shooter. Now let's check out how Golden State game plans screens involving Tatum. Here Poole hedges, as I would imagine Curry would do too, when either Draymond or Wiggins is guarding Tatum, but here he swings it to Smart, who had an incredible shooting game in March, and I would think the Warriors would still live with his shot. Now we see a screen involving a big man, and usually Looney plays drop coverage, but here he has to come up knowing Tatum is a shooter, especially in the mid-range. Draymond Green or Andrew Wiggins in this case will come double, forcing Tatum to kick it away from the trap. Smart knocked down another three. Off-ball screens involving Klay and a big man, the Celtics are not going to switch this since Robert Williams II is a shot blocker, trusting Brown to fight over, but here Klay gets him with a shot fake and knocks down the midi. This game was a blowout by now, but Boston will guard Poole the same way with Curry, trusting Marcus Smart to cover the perimeter, and Al Horford stays in drop coverage. Coach Udoka will live with this pin-down screen as Horford doesn't even try to come out and contest. We will see this Warriors off-ball action many times this series, with Kuminga or Green or Porter Jr. having the ball up top, and both sides having off-ball actions that involve guards, and the Celtics choose to switch all these. Like I mentioned before, this will give Looney a mismatch down low, and if this happens he will need to dominate the paint. This last play will also be important all series long. Jason Tatum is going to have the ball often, and when a Celtics big comes for the pick, just like several plays ago, we can see Golden State choose to double Tatum, encouraging him to give up the ball and let others make plays. Horford kicks it out for Brown for a three-pointer. Anyone but Tatum, I guess, but we saw how he was willingly giving up the ball in the Miami series many times and led to a Game 7 victory. That was pretty much it. I would take this March regular season game with a grain of salt since many role players were playing that would not see a minute all series, and Steph Curry was injured in the second quarter and Draymond was still nursing an injury comeback. Overall, we can conclude that Boston would switch off and on-ball screens involving guards, but when a play is including a primary ball handler that Marcus Smart is guarding, he would do his absolute best to chase him around. Whether it is Curry or Poole, they will have to be ready for it. The Celtics also played drop coverage with their bigs, with either Horford and Williams encouraging the mid-range or deep ball, and Golden State has to abuse this. As for the Warriors defense, they chose to double Jason Tatum when a Warrior big is involved, and hedge screens when guards are mixed into play. Just like most other teams, Golden State will live with Marcus Smart shooting the deep ball, but in this game they killed them, and I'm not sure how consistent that will be throughout the series. Jaylen Brown was a beneficiary of many kickouts off Tatum hockey assists, and he will cut to the rim as well. I think Golden State's off-ball movement will be too much for the Celtics defense, as Boston will understandably rely on isolation and Tatum brilliance to win them games. My prediction, Golden State in 6 games. Hope you guys like this breakdown, and like and subscribe to see some last finals breakdown content.